Hello ladies and gentlemen, what's up? I'm JJ and this is a 1 vs 1 shoutcast between LiquidTLO versus the Oz Failo, a Zerg, no Protoss this time, a Zerg menace versus Terran Defenders of Humanity in ZOTAC 152nd edition of this memorable and famous tournament. Now, this map is of course a well-known Cloud Kingdom and it's an amazing map to say the least. Now, we have a pretty wide gap opening between your natural and the rest of the map in the world. A very tight part placement here, which is quite useful and positive, but you won't usually defend this ramp at this stage of the game if you're thinking about early expansion. That's my point. Now, those players are very experienced. I believe everyone who's ever been interested in international StarCraft playing and serious StarCraft professional playing knows who LiquidTLO is. He's one of the most enjoyable, amusing and exciting Zerg to play. I must confess I haven't checked out a Failo before the game started because I was just so simply hyped up to see this game. And I hope I won't disappoint. Now, we can see what the players are going for. Well, no surprise here, TLO is going most likely for what? 15 hatchery. Yes, that's the case. That's exactly the spot on, right on the time, and right as expected. Now, according to schedule. Now, a Failo is going for 14 command center response against our Zerg player in order to simply not allow him. Well, let's see if he actually has that on hotkey, so you can see those hotkeys. Very useful. One is CV hotkeyed inside the base, second outside the base, and 2 command centers on the separate hotkey. It comes to Zerg, it's very simply. It's actually not as simple as I was expecting. One hatchery hotkeyed, both hatcheries hotkey. Well, this was probably the drone hotkey still remaining after he used that drone. So both hatcheries on the one hotkey, and Overlord used most likely for scouting in near future. Now, TLO is going to know immediately what's going on, what's cooking in enemy's kitchen, and he knows how to react to this tasty dish that he's been served, and that dish being an early, no-pressure response from Failo and no sort of harassment in early development, at least so it would appear, because those 2 refineries put everything I just said out in the question. You might see actually some sort of Reaper play, and that might be actually a fair point and useful play by Failo. Assuming, of course, Failo knows that TLO will know that he has an expansion and a very early one to boot. Now, we're going to see a Marine early opening double gas. I have no idea what he's going to fuel with that gas, especially that he put only 4 SCVs on total gas production. So, interesting decision. Double orbital command, immediate opening after this command center has been finished. A good decision. That energy is always useful, and those mules pack up your income quite a bit in comparison to anything else anyone else can have. Now, TLO hasn't opened up with any sort of gas expansion as of yet. He finished up his first queen, if I'm correct. Yes, he did, immediately injecting those lava and starting to vie for world domination and control. Now, another inject lava used by TLO, and I assume one of those queens is going to place a creep tumor right somewhere about here in order to prevent any sort of helium play. Now, we see first reactor added up to this barracks, but those barracks are going to be to fly up and switch with factory, and that factory is going to immediately start out pumping, well, I assume helions, but widow mines are also, of course, a possibility. Now, I'd like to point this out because I lately noticed Terrans started doing this on that map, and not only that map, when it comes to positioning of the defensive bunker. After consideration, I believe this is one of the best places to place your bunker. It doesn't allow any sort of whack-jack around the block, though I don't know why would anyone do that, a sort of run-by, but only a straight-in run-by into this wall. So, if you go with your Zerglings, say, and run here, you see you can't. So we go back here, and you can't run through this line in that mineral field to get all those juicy workers. If possible, that comes strangely from having this bunker right here. So it's a good decision making, good idea, and good awareness and understanding of the map. You can see that Helions are on the map, Failo has shown his hand, and TLO has responded in a fashion that you would expect from an experienced Zerg player facing a Terran that has gone macro style. A natural expansion. He's going, of course, for the third base. which is not in fact his final plan. That Timo has barely, he didn't die. Smart use by Failo of a cone attack by Hellions in order to destroy that Puma. Now, that will slow down TLO's creep spread just a little bit. Remember that 25 energy at this point of the game is actually quite a lot, because it's another spawn lava that you actually miss. Now, this wall-off is finished, ready and kicking. I believe that there's no way for Failo to actually move inside this base without meeting some serious and severe resistance. With a metabolic boost finished in 10 seconds, that harass is going to finish prematurely without anything accomplished that would satisfy Failo's desire for killing. Now, this is something I'd like to point out, because we have a fast transformation servos by our Terran player, and Failo is going big league. He's decided to go for dropping, but not standard dropping of Marines or Marauders. No sirree, he's going for something exceptional, and those exceptional units are Hellbats. And if you've ever seen a Hellbat drop, you know what I mean, and if you haven't, well, take a look at this. Those babies are going to annihilate this entire worker population. That is out, unless that Spore Crawler doesn't change out those plants considerably. Now, Failo wasn't able to throw down his killer units right inside the enemy base, and look at that, those Zerg have been actually defeated immediately. That has been a complete failure when it comes to dropping, because, well, the Queen focused dropship effectively, which led to its medevac, which led to its premature demise. And I can't emphasize enough how smartly TLO has gone around the potential of enemy drop by. He knows that drops are bread and butter in turn gameplay. He knows that he needs defenses around that, so he uses static defenses, and that's a good option, because it's not as good here as he would like it to be, because those drones are being burned alive immediately they appear. Now, TLO is targeting what he needs to. He's targeting those medevacs, and he doesn't allow his enemy to have a safe spot. Now, this is some indirect damage, because Failo is blocking that mining time. Those medevacs are in a hell lot of trouble. Those guys are dead as hell. Now, it's only about not losing as little as humanly possible. When it comes to harassment, well, Failo lost more, but at the same time he's stopping the Zerg from getting his 4th expansion, and that's what TLO really needs right now. That's what he wants, that's what he desires, that's what's essential to his gameplay. A very good decision by Failo to go into that corner with that Hellbat, to have very few Zerg in front of him and actually defend. Also 3 best of 5, so you know what kind of gameplay it is now. But anyway, I like that composition. I like Marine, Marauder, Hellbat addition from factory with some mines in the mix. Also Reapers, which is interesting enough. Oh, some Deutsche folks, that's great. Germans, we all enjoy when we have some good old-fashioned German community in StarCraft. 2-2 started from Failo. When it comes to Zerg, he's not behind. TLO is 1-1 in upgrades. Ooh, such a source of lag. TLO has secured that 4th base, despite its suffering some sort of damage, and that's crucial for Zerg player. He's got 2 objectives on the map for the time being. Secure his 4th base, which is a huge check. A little check like here. And prevent the 3rd base for Terran player. And he needs that, because if Failo reaches 3 base status, he will be a very difficult opponent to deal with, because the moment a Terran has 3 bases, it's very hard to actually make him budge, because he got mules, so he will have an income equalizer. That was a very good position for Bellings, but fortunately for Failo, Bellings were not in the spot, and Bellings might actually connect to a lot of units. That's a lot of casualties. And what we can see that so far so good for Failo. TLO has lost far more in this attack, however he is on 4 bases compared to 2, so that is not as important as it might seem in the other case. Now those Hellbats are not going to stand a chance, and this wall-off is perfect for TLO. I actually believe that those Zerglings and Banelings do an incredible, huge and mighty amount of damage thanks to that unfortunate positioning by Failo, positioning that has actually almost cost him the lead when it comes to resources lost, and he can't allow himself to be in a situation where he is not in the upper advantage in terms of resources lost. He has to be more effective with that money because he has far less of it when compared to TLO. TLO starting a very intensive Zergling technology improvement, but also Ultra Risk Tech. A standard choice and decision: if you don't go Muta Baneling, you go Ultra Tech, with some Infestors added for Fungals. And that's an excellent decision. TLO now going on the march, being on the move. TLO being on the defensive and Failo going on the march and on the offensive. He wants to take out that 4th base, which is pretty huge, and a lot of Baneling connections, but not enough to hamper and take out all the steam that Failo has for the time being. He's going for what matters, and those targets are of course drones. Drones are going to die in abundance. When it comes to resources, we have 60 workers to nil, and oh my god, 184 to 44 units lost. And that attack has ended up with great success for Failo. Failo has managed to secure his own 3rd base that actually will need some sort of defensive positioning, bunkers or even a planetary fortress, as this is an important position for Terran. Not as important as this 4th base when it comes to placing your planetary, but it nevertheless is something you need to have secured. Because Terran on 3 bases, it's comfortable, is juicy, is safety, is hype. Now, I'd like to mention this ramp particularly when you take out this base and this base, because it's a big wide opening in this dead zone between your 2 bases. And the drop right here behind the enemy lines. Well, Failo has led all his units to die a gruesome death. Pretty unfortunate for to be a Terran right there. Now, a beautiful attack in by TLO against Failo's forces, but not all the creeps, so he's in advantage. He's lost a lot of units, and those units are pretty expensive now. Failo is in the dominant seat when it comes to income. We have Ultralists on the way, and Ultra Tech is marching inside, and they in business. Chiton is plating on the way. Free upgrades are being made as well. Some transfusions on those ultras, and one ultra is killed. When it comes to units lost tab, we can see oh my god, we can see that wow, Failo is excellent when it comes to his money spending and his money usage, but he can't stay in this position. That is a death trap against Ultralists, and he has wisely decided to shuttle in and fly the hell out of there, because why not? You're in a tough spot if you stay in such a position. Counterattack by TLO. He knows what to do, he knows what's cooking, he knows where to go, and that's essential. He's going to build up a command center right here as a planetary apparently. He wants 3 orbital commands, and who can blame him? News are so excellent. Now, a beautiful entrance right in the dead zone, but unfortunately for TLO, this blocked ramp makes it impossible for him to go right in and waltz between 2 bases, creating a dead space. That means, which would mean that Failo cannot reinforce this expansion right here. What a saturation the moment that they decided to start actually mining. Another counterattack back TLO, but I believe that the moment this command center actually finishes, a beautiful wall off, that's a good play and decision making. The moment this wall off finishes, TLO's happy days of harassment are going to be over. Now, Failo's Death Ball is moving yet again against TLO's Ultra Baneling Zergling combination with some additional spice from Infestors, but apparently it's not a good idea to go frontal confrontation with Failo, especially with usage of Overlords, as you tend to get supply block. Now, drilling clones added to Tech Lab by factory units, a lot of dead SCVs here by a TLO, so he managed to equalize that workers count pretty substantially. He killed 40 workers thus far. When it comes to unit composition, we can see that he's heavily ahead in both units and workers, and it actually puts, interestingly enough, TLO in a preferable and dominant, if not to say safe and comfortable position. Yes, he's on 3 bases. Is he now? He's on 4 bases. Yes, he needs to expand sooner rather than later. But what does that mean even if you break up a Terran offensive? You still didn't take out the 3rd base, and lack of that planetary fortress by Failo might actually mean his failure and defeat in the future prospect. it's essential that you have a planetary at your most contested base in order to bring the pain and punishment against those Zerglings, and that might end up in a terrible tragedy and a fast. Now those units are moving straight in against that Ultralisk, and the Ultralisk has fallen. Another Ultralisk in the mineral line, but he decided the bunker looks like a more juicy target. Some Inferno goes flying around, but they don't connect. Mines have detonated, and even the Viper added out, I believe, for Blinding Cloud. Instead of attack, Infestors caught out beautifully. That's a big loss for TLO. He can't afford to lose those gas-consuming units, especially that he doesn't have an abundance of it. What still worries me for Failo is the lack of planetary fortress, which he absolutely needs. It's essential that he gets it. And another beautiful counterattack by TLO. And Failo is mined out at his natural. He's going for that base over here, so he's going for his... well, not fourth base per se, it's his fourth base, but only second mining one. He's actually now mining out of this one base, his total lifeline, but without a planetary to secure it. That position is delicate and uncomfortable, to say the least. A big production line by TLO, who's putting a lot of units out on the battlefield as we speak, planning to stop this expansion from starting and make perhaps a counter run by right here in order to get some more unit killing. Now, TLO has played it excellently. He blocked thus far enemy drops. He managed to build up a substantial army, an army lead that is going to actually move up to a big degree. And Failo is not producing anything. I do not understand his decision making for the time being. Why is he not making units with such a huge bank? What the hell is wrong out here? I have no idea. I'm confused. I'm actually scared about the future. Failo needs a lot of units to max out immediately. By that point, without planetaries, I fear it might be too late for him to actually do anything. This is what his life mining base. He's got a bank, but he has nothing to mine with. And if you look at TLO's income, his income is absolutely equal. Well, thanks to this expansion, Failo is still in the game when it comes to income, but his bank is dwindling heavily, and he just doesn't have that many units as he'd like to. With that Ultralisk drop inside the main base, we might see that Failo is in a sort of pickle, as I'd say it, because Marines are not a unit you'd like to have against Ultralisks, especially Ultralisks that inside the base. Well, you can see that Failo has started to surrender this game and wished good luck for LiquidTLO in the finals. Such good guy, so much sportsmanship. That was an excellent game played out by TLO. It might seem chaotic, it might have seemed as it was ragtag, random and impulsive, but it was very well played. He blocked all the drop options, this one here, this one inside the base. He focused his queens on shooting medivacs earlier in the game. He moved into many multi-pronged counter-attacks with Zerglings using this run-by inside this crucial third base, a base absolutely crucial for Terrans. He made it impossible to build a planetary right here, and he made a run-by using this ramp inside the natural in order to kill some SCVs and create this dead space. This place that Terran was unable to take on safely due to this ramp's presence. Now, TLO has used his terrain in this game to the maximum potency and advantage. I'd also like to point out how impressive his creep spread is, and all those aspects combined, strategic aspect, good tactical play, especially if dropping Ultralisk inside the enemy base, always nice to watch and see. TLO has managed to grab this decisive win over his enemy and prove to be ultimately the better player, at least in this case and game. And with that optimistic, of course, conclusion, I bid you farewell. I tell to you guys, see you around next time. JJ signing out. See you in StarCraft game and around. Bye bye and farewell.